Midnight Double Feature presents Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. On this episode, we bring you Season 3, Episode 13, Full Measure, written and directed by Vince Gilligan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. The final episode of the season. We've made it, Colin. How you doing? How you feeling? What's going on?
Looks like we made it. I'm doing good. My throat is starting to get a little. I've been a little sick this weekend, and we just came off of a 3-hour episode. So I'm sorry if I sound like I've been chain smoking. Pall Malls. I actually haven't had a cigarette in like a couple of days. I threw my pack in the trash this last weekend.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just was like, dude, you're almost fucking 33. Like, if it's not now, it's never. But to celebrate, I did get like a little mini pack of cigars. I do love cigars. I really do. And it kind of fixes that habit without inhaling. You know, I can just go out there and have a puff and put them out and come back to it later. So it's been an interesting weekend being sick and trying to, kick the habit and stuff. But
get rid of the nicotine.
Yeah, but I was excited to watch this last episode. Full measures, correct?
Full measure. Yeah, we're here. What? Yeah, the last episode of this season, which we've been recording for like 2 years now, nearly. Mm-hmm. It's been a journey. This is a wild episode. And by the way, we promise that there won't be this big of a gap between seasons. We're gonna roll right into season 4, right? I mean, like
that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan, baby. All right, so full measure. Socials. If you don't know where to find us, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, socials are in the show notes. Midnight Double Feature, midnightdoublefeature.com. Support our Patreon, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. It's $5 a month. You get a whole host of bonus episodes. You support the show financially. It'll be amazing. But yeah, seriously, thank you so much for everyone for listening to this season. Thank you so much for supporting this side shoot, this side project for us. Bad Crystal's been very, very amazing. Let's dive into this. Let's dive into Full Measure.
Let's do it.
Here we go. What'd you think? What did you think of the last episode of the season?
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I love the way it starts. This is very rare for the show to get this. I think there's only been 1 or 2 of these this far back of a flashback. I remember the one with, is it Gretchen? Is that the woman he's at the chalkboard with, and they're doing the composition of like the body and stuff. But beyond that, that's basically it. As for like Walt's like backstory and stuff, we're told a lot of it. We don't see a lot of it. So to see even like them purchasing the house in question, and to see Walt like kind of is he working at the gray what it will become like the gray matter lab or what?
I believe so. He says he's working at Sandra Laboratories,
right?
Which I believe will become gray matter, or he's going to meet,
or they'll branch out and become gray matter. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, that's seeing him like this is Walt like doing what he wants to do. This is kind of like, it's weird seeing the way that who Walt will become from this. Like he's got like the leather jacket on, and he's kind of young, no glasses and stuff. So it's like weird to see
Malcolm in the middle hair.
Right. And it's really weird to see him like the more subdued Walt when the show begins. And, his wife is like, you tell him to be home, you're coming home. And like, just, it's so weird. This just feels like such a different Walt from season 1, the more subdued kind of Walt. But yeah, I like the episode a lot. I think it was an incredibly good episode, a good Mike episode, a good Saul episode. Yeah, we actually get to see a lot about Saul as a character, like I think we actually get to see that he does actually have some kind of code. Yeah. Like, whether that's just through legality or morality or whatever you want to call it. And you get to see the kind of I don't know, the duplicity that also Gus possesses, that he can turn that on and off like a faucet, and that whole the truth of his condition, blah blah blah, but he can turn that into what did you say? Like Walt can turn, or I'm sorry, Gus can turn that corner just as easily as Walt can. So I think it's a great episode for everybody.
I think this is an outstanding episode. So this is Breaking Bad. This episode, this highlights what an ideal Breaking Bad episode is. Not only do you get, the tense standoffs, like between Walt and Gus in the desert, which looks incredible, but yeah, Tom over there is enjoying a good scratch.
I started petting my dog, and on my camera, I just see his snout and then his head rise into frame.
It's so good.
Sorry, that's funny. Good boy.
No, that's fine. So not only do you get those tense standoffs, but you also get like Walt showing again that his deadliest weapon is his brain, right? Like Walt using his intellectual intelligence for his own benefit. No matter who stands in the way, no matter who he brings down.
He's playing that 5D chess.
Yes, absolutely. But also Mike, we get more of Mike here in terms of how lethal Mike is, but also how intelligent Mike is, but like and where his allegiances lie. There are no side stories here. There's no Hank and Marie. There's no Skylar in this episode.
Right.
It's all intensely focused on Jesse and Walt and Gus.
Yeah, right.
Which is, again, what people mainly remember Breaking Bad for. Like that's what people kind of tune in for week by week. I mean, obviously we tune in for Skylar, Hank, and Marie, but this is the meat of Breaking Bad. Right.
Right. When people say Breaking Bad, this is like usually this is like if it's a steak, it's the pink center of the steak right now.
Sure. Absolutely. So where we are at the end of this season is an interesting question because, Walter's kind of like for now bought some time with Gus, who, with the cartel coming at him again, he needs a talented meth cook far more than he needs revenge. But, Walter's done this at the cost of Gail's life and taking Jesse's innocence. This is Jesse's first killing or murder. And Gale, we can talk about Gale a little bit. While he is in the game, and that's I think how Walt rationalizes the murder of Gale in his own mind, Gale is still an innocent, I think, in my opinion. Like I don't think he's not a shot caller. He's not someone who makes violent decisions. He's just a cook. He's He's on the end of the chain.
He just works here,
Right. So it's interesting, but I think this is an outstanding episode, one of the best in the entire show, in my opinion, and especially the last sort of 5 minutes. Really,
I think one of the best lines from this is when they're walking back to the car, and he's like, "You need to get your car fixed," and he's like, "Yeah, let's see how this goes first."
Yeah,
I fucking loved that. That's a great line.
Let's kick it off with this flashback. So, like you said, we get the flashback scene, Walt and Skylar looking at the house. It's a heavily pregnant Skylar with Walt Jr. Cranston with hair, like I said, giving me Malcolm in the Middle vibes. The realtor mentioned that Walt is working for Sandra Laboratories. What I do would bore you senseless, says Walt. The actor, by the way, apropos of nothing, who plays the realtor, he's in Westworld recently.
Okay.
Walt says that they're going to need at least 5 bedrooms. He wants 3 kids total, spare room for study so he can work from home and she can write. He says, I don't think this is going to be enough. And, it's interesting to see these characters before all the heartache of the show, especially this season in particular. Like Skylar is the one that I clocked more than Walt. Skylar seems more chipper, the British accent she takes on. She's talking about a wine cellar. Like she's just more vibrant,
No, absolutely. 100% sure. They're definitely miles away from where they are at that first birthday breakfast,
And And of course, like the tragic line of, this is a starter house, why be cautious? We've got nowhere to go but up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We get the title card, and then we're in this remote location. We see the damage that Walt's vehicular manslaughter caused on his car.
Jesus.
Dude, what about the windshield? The windshield's fucked again.
Yeah, that fucking giant meteor crack in the middle.
It's still got the tape on it from when they replaced it last time.
I know, yeah. I think there's definitely some kind of symbolic something going on with Walt's car. Like, it could just be a comedic thing, but I think there's something a little bit more symbolic there.
Oh, I like that. By the way, on today's episode of Breaking Bad, Crystal, we may be reading into things a little bit because we've just come off Gone Baby Gone, which we dived into pretty heavily. So if we're reaching, that's probably why.
Yeah, we're checking every corner, looking behind every bookcase.
Walt's waiting, and there's this super extreme like close up of his eyes. He kind of like clocks that lone SUV coming towards him. He's like hyper focused, like he's focused so much so that he gets scared by the phone ringing when Mike calls him. He's like, oh.
Yeah, it scared me because I started the episode when we were doing the intro and stuff, and I heard the phone go off, and I was like, oh my God, my phone's going off. And I was like, wait, that's not my fucking phone.
I haven't had a flip phone in years.
Yeah, right.
Mike tells him to exit the vehicle, and he starts walking, and Walt wants some assurance, right? Mike says, I assure you that I could kill you from way over here if it makes you feel any better.
I love Mike, man. He's slowly becoming probably my favorite character.
This is, like I said, this is a Mike episode that really boosted up in the rankings for me. Like, for Mike,
Absolutely.
Walt grabs his hat, which we haven't seen in a long time, by the way, the Heisenberg hat.
Right.
Heisenberg is fully back, it looks like, right? So
yes,
we talked about a few weeks ago that Heisenberg's been kind of like stuffed in the shadows a little bit. Walt's been trying to distance himself from that persona, but he's back. Oh, by the way, one of my favorite shots in the entire show is the shot of him from behind as he walks. He puts on the hat, and in the distance, you can just see the headlights as Mike and Victor like get out of the car. Oh, it's beautiful.
That one and the shot of him and Gus where it's full body shots with like the mountain range behind them as they're facing each other. It's great, man. It's really good. This is directed by Gilligan, right?
Yeah, this is directed by Gilligan. Yeah.
Good shit.
He makes Mike in the middle, who frisks him for weapons. Mike says that he was out all night cleaning up after him. Walt says, you said no half measures. And Mike says, funny how words can be so open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Mike walks Walt to Gus. Jesus Christ, that's not that easy to say. Who is visibly not happy, right? Walt done fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And this entire exchange is glorious. I love that both actors here are doing more acting with their eyes than the dialogue is really kind of speaking.
Oh, yeah. Gus's physical acting is just like the deep sigh and the kind of like his body language just is amazing in its own.
It's incredible. Gus kicks off by asking about Walt's medical condition. He asks, are you seeing bright lights or hearing voices? Because no rational person would have done as you have done. He asks Walt to explain himself. And, Gus still doesn't really understand Walt and Jesse's connection. He calls Jesse a junkie. He questions why he's worth the risk. Jesus. And Walt says that Jesse thinks that maybe it was Gus who gave the order for Tomas's death. Gus says, are you asking me if I ordered the murder of a child? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, you run a multi-billion-dollar drug. I mean, so Gus is not the cartel. He's just, I guess, an independent,
right?
Self-made.
Gus is not the cartel. Yes, yeah, he's a self-made sort of like drug runner. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past somebody in his, at his I guess, chain of command to do something, because honestly, I don't know Gus that well, but I assume you don't get to the top by, having some kind of moral code. I understand some of them do, but, especially now, like what's going on at the border now in 2023 is fucking crazy, like it's absolutely nuts. So maybe at this time, maybe they weren't as like ruthless, but I don't know. I could kind of see Gus doing that. I kind of could.
Yeah, I don't believe Gus for a second here. I think he actually did. I think as soon as Jesse left that meeting, he ordered it.
That's what I was saying at the end of the last episode was like, are you telling me that these guys went and did that on spec when he specifically told you not to fucking do this? Right. Like, Jesus.
Walt says, I would never ask you that without breaking eye contact. Dude, and it's at this point where I was like, we are a long way from negotiating with Tuco in a junkyard.
Yes.
A long way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't really get any higher than this.
Think about how Walt was reacting to Tuco in that junkyard and how scared and fidgety he was. And now it's just total control. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Jesse, he says that Jesse is a couple time zones away at least. Gus will never find him. Mike says, I don't know, Walt. It is what I do after all.
I don't know, Walt. It is what I do.
God, Jonathan Banks is awesome. Jonathan Banks is guesting on this episode. How you doing, Jonathan? What's happening, baby?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what? What?
Can you imagine?
Oh, my God.
I was like...
fucking shit my talk to him about nothing but Beverly Hills Cop. That'd be fucking great.
Well, we already have friend of the show Hank, so
Dean Norris, friend of the
show. Walt says that he and Jesse are done, which is what Gus wanted. Walt wants to review options, of which it seems to me that you have two. Option A, kill me, no witness, spend the next few months tracking down Jesse and kill him too. Option B, Walt keeps cooking. Forget about Jesse. It's a lone hiccup in a long and fruitful business arrangement. I prefer option B. Oh, man. This is great. This is incredible dialogue. This is incredible work from Bryan Cranston, who is asked to, kind of evolve his character in a way that has to staunchly kind of plant himself in the ground and says, no, you move. Like, it's like insane.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. He's got to really batter down the hatches and ride this one out.
Absolutely. Gus says that he chooses Walt's new assistant and he leaves. Mike tells Walt to get the car fixed, which he does, and he pulls it up into the laundromat the next day. And then as he's arriving to the laundry where Victor opens the door for him, it seems like they've changed the locks as a precaution to keep Jesse out, right? In case he returns.
Yeah. I didn't even think about I didn't even think about that. I just thought it was like a repercussion of like, we're going to tighten up security around it. But yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Maybe. And who's waiting for Walt? Gale, baby.
Gale the snail.
Yeah, Gale the snail. He says it's good to be back, right? By the way, you nailed your guess at the end of the last episode, I think. Because in the end of the last episode, by the way, listeners, if you're listening, we recorded that episode maybe 3-4 weeks ago, so we can't fully remember. But I'm pretty sure I asked you at the end of the last episode where I was like, what are your predictions for this episode? And you were like, oh, maybe Gale comes back into it. And I'm just like, yeah.
Well, I think you said something about Gale. You said Gale, and I was like, well, okay, I think that's pretty much it. But I think
I hinted towards Walt's replacement or something like that, and you were like, oh.
Well, I think the thing is now is that what saves a lot of Walter's ass is the fact that his product is worth the hassle of what's going on.
Yeah. His skill saves his ass.
Right. Right. But the issue is that it's not like you're an actor or you're doing something that only your physical body can produce. Like anybody can do what you're doing, but they just have to practice and get the right person in there. And I think Gale could definitely probably perfect what Walt does. Seeing him whip up that coffee and how just like, I don't know, he seems like someone who is into the process of things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He seems like he's in love with the chemistry as much as Walt, if not more. Right.
Right.
Mike and his granddaughter. He's adorable with his granddaughter. Like whenever Jonathan Banks kind of like warms up a little bit, it's great. He says, "I learned all kinds of things being with you, dude." I love the transition to Mike standing outside this factory. He still has the balloons in the back of his car. It's like, we see Mike get to work, multiple times in this show and in Better Call Saul, and these are my favorite moments in this show. Is this like, it's usually like these incredible sort of montage-esque scenes that are like set to music. Usually there's like no explanation to what he's doing. We just see it play out in real time. And, sometimes it's like something super mundane, like with the balloons. Later on, we'll see like a hose kind of thing. And it's just like, why is he doing this thing that he's doing? And then it plays out. It's used in the situation. It's like, oh shit, that's why I was doing it. Like, we could have. So Better Call Saul takes its time in showing us the mundane things. So if this were Better Call Saul, we would see him go to a party shop and purchase the balloons. Then, like that is Better Call Saul. That does it more often. But I love that. I love that we don't see, or we're never explained in advance Mike's plan. We just see it play out in real time. That's my favorite shit.
Yeah, that is really cool. Him throwing the shoe.
Dude. He goes full Bond here, right? Like silencer and everything.
Yeah, I love it.
Like you said, throwing of the shoe, and of course the raising of the hands to indicate where Mike should fire through the wall, right? When he brains that guy.
That is fucking great.
Dude, it's
the
so
hands
good.
going up and down.
The blood spatter on the white barrel is just art. It's just artwork.
Yeah. So is this the cartel trying to just push in on Gus's territory, I assume?
Yeah. So essentially, this is Chow, and Chow is Gus's supplier. And okay. It's tough to do this without spoilers.
Well, don't worry about it then. All I need to know is that they're a cartel who are trying to push in on him.
Yes. So the cartel are aware where Gus's supplier, where Gus gets his supply from. They're trying to like choke out his supply, and all Gus needs to do is just send in Mike, and that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love the joke of Chow asking the secretary if she's still there, and she goes on this like giant rant in like Cantonese or Chinese or whatever, and Chow just goes, she says yes.
Yeah.
She says yes. Mike shoots Chow in the hand and suggests she drives into the hospital, and then we get a scene with Mike and Gus. Turns out, the cartel guys were probing for weaknesses. They didn't find any. Man, could Mike be any cooler? Can he just could he be any more of a
Mike is the Master Chief?
Yes. Please cast him in season 2 of Halo, please. 343, please.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Can you imagine? He can barely move because he's so old. Mike says he's making inquiries into Jesse's whereabouts. Gail and Walt in the lab, they're wrapping up a batch or starting. I'm unsure. It turns out, I don't know too much about the production of meth, so I don't know if it's starting or ending. Or do I? I'm just kind of hiding that I know a lot about the meth process. Gail asks about Victor keeping tabs on Walt. Walt says, it's near. We had a little drama with the person you replaced. And then Walt reassures Gail, saying, it'll be fine.
Yeah. It'll
be fine.
Yeah, I love what follows a sentence like that usually.
Gail obviously wants to continue to impress Walt, right? He basically sucks him off. Please teach me, he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you don't really know if it's that Gail has... You don't know if he's already been asked to do this, because there's some sinister stuff. Like when Gale puts his hood up and zips his thing and he's just like staring at Walt. Like there's definitely the way that they're framing this is kind of like, are you about to murder him?
They are. But I see in the next scene, in this scene, which is where we're in Gale's apartment, is when Gus kind of comes over and sort of makes those overtures. Maybe Gus has spoken to Gale before about it or hinted hinted about it before, but this is the conversation here that really
Right.
really
Yeah.
breaks it in.
It's definitely very sinister, like the way that it's shot.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah. Gale reads Stephen King.
I saw it. I think that's I think that's everything is eventual. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, this kind of says something about the people who read King. You know, he does this little dance item as he waters his goddamn plant and shit.
It's a little weird because Stephen King doesn't really match anything else in this apartment. You know, this guy's like a hardcore hippie. Like has the Ron Paul sticker on his car and has a lot of rugs, plants. He has a hookah. Like Gale is a hardcore hippie. And I'm like, not that hippies don't read Stephen King, but that's just usually not a hippie kind of thing, you know? Yeah, I think they usually read like Jack Kerouac and stuff.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you can email the producers. I don't
it was a little out of place from everything else.
All right. Yeah, I didn't clock that. That's interesting. See, for me, it was just like, oh, he reads. Cool. Great.
Right. Listens to opera.
Yeah, is that opera? What is that?
I don't know. It could be like big band with like a vocalist or something. I don't know. I don't know what you would call that.
It's interesting. It's stuck in my head.
I would be very interested to see what that. It could be a concert, like or like an opera, or like what is the story behind that? That could be some kind of like double meaning.
He knows the words too.
Yeah, it's a very smart guy to sing in a different language.
Sure. But what I think what's happening here and what I really love is they're showing us here that Gale has a life, right? Like he has routines and he has quirks. He's someone who has a life outside of this, right? Outside of the lab and outside of chemistry. It's interesting setup, you know?
Absolutely.
He gets on the door and it's the Grim Reaper, right? This can't be good. It's Gus, obviously. Gus is here to ask Gale about how soon he might be able to take over the lab. It's just him and another assistant if push came to shove. Tells him about Walt's health problems. He tells Gale why Walt does this, making Gale believe that Gus is trying to come up with a backup plan in case Walt dies of cancer, which obviously, you know, it's a factor, but it's in remission, right? I mean, like it's not really.
No, yeah. It's not a factor lie. Oh yeah, no, it's a lie. Like that's a lie.
It's a lie.
He's taking advantage of Gale, you know, and I think he knows if he comes to him and he goes, "Hey, I want to murder Walt. I need you to take over." Gale's not going to do it.
Gale's not going to do it. Yeah, because he likes Walt too much.
Right. Yeah. He admires
God. Right. We cut over to Walt and Gale cleaning this vat. Gale goes to ask about Walt's health issues, but Victor ekes into the frame and Gale changes his approach. And then we're in Saul's office, right? He's on this like foot massager thing again. He loves this thing.
Yeah.
Mike interrupts Saul's conference, quote, end quote, conference. Looking for Jesse. Mike says that he needs Saul's full attention because he needs just his current whereabouts. Mike's got his, threatening voice on. He's like, "You are good right there." Saul goes to get up.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so menacing. It's brilliant. And Saul brings up attorney-client privilege, right? I trust the hole in the desert I'd leave you in. Don't make me beat you till your legs don't work. Dude, like Mike is just, he's on a warpath, man.
Right. Yeah, he is very, this is, I think most of the time we see Mike and Saul, it's Mike off the clock. And now Mike is on the clock, and this is very different. Like this to me is like Richie and Seth Gecko from Dusk Till Dawn, like when they're hanging out and they're just like drinking and stuff. And then once they start going into fighting mode again, like George Clooney literally goes, "Hey, get back on the clock, Richie." And they just immediately turn this like corner back into criminals. And I love that. I think that's pretty cool to see Mike kind of like on the warpath,
I watched From Dusk Till Dawn for the first time the other day.
Oh, really? You like it? It's an acquired taste. Don't worry. We'll talk all about it when we cover it next week.
You know what? We can cover the first half. Don't worry about the second half.
Yeah, that second half is it's a bit weird.
It's you need to know what you're getting into, and like I did know what I was getting into, but
but still, that turn is a hard turn.
It's hard. It's not even like a U-turn. It's just straight up.
No,
like
it's an L.
Teleportation to a different. Yeah. Yeah. The first half feels like it's directed by someone else, not Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, maybe we'll talk about it someday.
Yeah. Like, let's talk about Breaking Bad for now.
8 or 9 years. Saul brings up, like I said, attorney-client privilege. Saul holds strong until Mike gets up really quick, and you can smell the shit in Saul's pants, right? He writes down the location of Jesse, and he says, "I'm going to leave the room, make myself a Nescafe."
Well, yeah, and the crazy thing is, so Mike works for Gus, and I assume Saul does not work for Gus. He just works in association with him.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So it's not like he has to interrupt Mike in the way of like they both work for the same guy. But I like the fact that he actually does. He is trying to remain some form of a legitimate attorney. Like, hey, I can't go telling you who this guy is. And even then, he doesn't exactly tell him. Like he puts the notepad out and leaves the room. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't get why Saul is so stuck in the sand in this one. Like, I feel like he would give him up in a heartbeat. Yeah,
it's interesting because, like, okay, it's because we've seen this entire episode, we know that Saul knows where Jesse's real whereabouts is, right? So,
right.
But he needs to put on a song and dance for Mike to be able to buy this story, right? He needs to be able to put on a song and dance of like, I begrudgingly gave out Jesse's address after you threatened to beat me.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of drama going on here. There's a lot of opera showmanship on Saul's
But I wonder
part.
why not just give up Jesse? I mean, I understand he's your client. You make a lot of money off of him, but he's not really your client anymore. Like, he's gone, like he's out of the picture. So I kind of wonder why he sticks his neck out in the way he does for Jesse. Besides,
I guess it's going to be believable a little bit. The hesitancy of like giving him up because he's likely going to get killed,
Yeah, that's true. Saul is not a person who likes to get his hands dirty.
No. So like that works for me in terms of like, let's keep this, let's draw this out as long as we can, because Mike knows that I know that the reason they're looking for Jesse is to kill him.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which is, again, mind blowing because, it's when we had this meeting with Gus, it seemed like everything was okay. Let's just iron out all the creases and get back to work like nothing's going on. And I love that both sides know fucking something's going on, like Walt and them are not stupid. They know they're being pursued.
We cut to Saul driving Walt to the laser tag place. Walt's certain about the car wash. They head on inside and we see that they have a little tail, right? Victor's keeping watch outside.
Mm-hmm.
Saul keeps talking about revenue streams. And Walt tells him to shut up, right? They think that maybe Saul's car is bugged. He's freaking out. Service-wise, if we survive this, I'm rethinking my pricing. That goes double for you, hip-hop. And he points to Jesse in the doorway, right? The first look at Jesse in this episode after the moment at the end of the last episode. Jesse asks Walt how long he thinks he has until Gale replaces him. Walt says, once he feels confident that he knows my entire method. And then Jesse asks what they need to do, right? Walt says, you know what we need to do. Jesse hangs his head. There's got to be some other way, he says. He suggests going to the cops. It's a naive suggestion. It's a cute idea.
Mm-hmm. That's like last-ditch effort, like just to save your own ass,
But again, it's like what we were talking about in we were just talking about this in Gone Baby Gone, but the naivete of Jesse being so young and kind of hopeful,
Mm-hmm.
Like him kind of being like, like the DEA would love you. Federal witness protection is a good deal. We had a good run. It's over. Like,
Right.
you turn
right,
yourself
right.
in, like at least you'll be alive,
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And your family will be safe.
Sure. Walt shakes his head. Never the DEA. The cook can't stop. Production cannot stop. Gus can't afford to. If I'm the only chemist that he's got, then I've got leverage. Leverage keeps us alive. If I'm the only chemist that he's got. Jesse pleads with Walt. He says, I can't do it. Like you said, I can't do it. And then Walt suggests that he do it himself. He needs Jesse's help to throw the tail. He doesn't know where Gale lives either. Walt tasks Jesse with getting his address. He says, I saved your life, Jesse. Are you going to save mine?
Interesting. I mean, definitely, obviously, hardcore guilting somebody into it, but at the same time, it's not wrong. It is that guilt or not, that is a fact. The reason that they're in this predicament is because he saved your life. Like there's really no two ways about it.
Right. I'm trying to determine, because we know that Walt is a manipulator. He's a master manipulator. But is there manipulation here?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely, because he's having to convince him to do it. But I don't think it's like. I don't think it's very.
But he's only convincing him to provide him with the address.
Right. He's not trying to. He's not. It's not. He's convincing Jesse to give him the address or to whatever, but he's not. They both know that he's doing it. It's not like he's subtly manipulating him.
Yeah. Okay. I get you. We're in the White Home, and with this exact panning shot that we saw in the opening from the fireplace, except now the home is populated with things, including Holly and a crib. And, we're just kind of like reminded of how much stress this family's been put through since, its pure beginnings when they bought the house.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse calls Walt with Gale's address. The place looks pretty wide open. Walt says he'll do it tonight. Jesse pleads with Walt not to do it. Please go to the cops, he says. And Walt just straight up hangs up on him. As Walt goes to leave, he's picked up by Victor, who says there's some kind of chemical leak. And, what must be running through Walt's mind, right? Is this it? Walt is panicking. Victor doesn't give him the option to follow him in his car. And, man, the mood is great. Right, like Dave Porter's like simple but effective score is so good as Victor leads Walt through the laundromat, and we see that Mike's waiting there for him too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like like a convict being led to the noose, right?
Right, and they're not going to call Walt for a chemical leak. They've got a guy for that. Walt's not. What is he, a fucking plumber? It's like it doesn't matter. He's not there to fix a leak.
Right. Mike continues the charade that something's leaked down there. Walt begins to plead with Mike, right? He's like, you don't have to do this. And then in one line, all of the suspicion is removed and it's confirmed, right? When Mike says, yeah, unfortunately I do, Walter.
Oh, man. Yeah, because at first, like, I even kind of thought, like, maybe there is actually something. And then I was like, come on, man. Like, don't be naive.
Sure. Man, this is Cranston at probably some of his best when he's just begging Mike to talk to Gus. Please let me talk to him, he says. And then he says, I'll give you Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, fuck, man.
Now, I have a question for you. Do you think that he is going to give him Jesse Pinkman, or he just wants to use his phone?
No, I think that he wants to use his phone to use Jesse to save his ass. I think he knows. Yeah, he knows if he gets Jesse on that phone and he tells him, "Hey, it's now or never, or I'm gonna die." Like Jesse's gonna go do it. Like Jesse will do it out of guilt for Walt saving his life. I don't think, do I think that Walt would really give up Jesse? No, because at the end, they're probably just going to shoot Walt anyways. It doesn't matter that he gave Jesse up. That's just a little bonus, like Jesse got all this agitation started, but Walt was the one who hit them with the car. And he's the one who's been playing fucking mind games and playing 5D chess against Gus. And Gus is like, you don't play chess with me. I play chess, with I got enough problems I deal with. I don't need I got a guy downstairs who will bend over the desk and let me fuck him in the ass if I ask, meanwhile, I've got to deal with constant fucking hiccup after
Sure, yeah.
My meth is coming up light. You're murdering my dealers. Like, yeah, it's not worth the headache,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Walt reaches for his phone to call Jesse, who's still holed up at the arcade, and he's about to spark up a pipe, which is interesting because, I mean, this is Jesse's kind of, I guess, coping mechanism, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, because, once we saw him hit the pipe before he's going to murder the dealers, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, he was snorting coke, right?
Right, well, yeah, or I think he might have been doing a bump of crystal.
Yes. We would, we fixed up that error last time too. Walt calls in the nick of time. He asks if he did it, but Walt says it's going to have to be you. You have 20-minute lead. They have me in the laundromat, and you're going to have to be quick. Fucking great moment, man. Walt says they're going to need to hold off because his boss is going to need him. And man, Mike looks stunned. This is one of the only times you'll ever see Mike surprised or stunned or caught off guard. Like, keep that in your mind.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the look in his eyes. His mouth just opens up like son of a bitch, man.
It's a testament to Walt's kind of strategy and his brain and just the way he thinks and how he's able to be in front of people all the time.
Right.
Victor takes off as Mike dials for Gale. Walt is smarter than Mike, Walt is smarter than Mike, or Gus gives him credit for it, and it's paid off here in a big bad way. We're with Gale, who's making a tea. The phone's ringing. There's a knock on the door. Gale says, "Hi, how can I help you?" And it's Jesse. He pulls out the gun, and man, Aaron Paul is so good. He just starts tearing up, and Gus is begging. He says, "You don't have to do this." And then we finally end the episode looking straight down the barrel of the gun as Jesse pulls the trigger. And what's really interesting to me is both of these two men, Jesse and Gale, they're both lackeys to a higher power. Like, Gale was just following Gus's orders, and Jesse's doing the same with Walt. And it's like these two were just caught up in this. Like, they're victim of circumstance here.
Yeah, they're pawns.
It reminds me of we were just watching a movie the other night, me and my dad. A movie that was just nominated for an Oscar. It's called All Quiet on the Western Front. Mm-hmm. It's based on a very, very, very popular novel. And in that movie, like all war movies deal with this, but it's like, you've got the soldiers who are down in the nitty gritty and they're murdering each other and they have no idea why. And then you got the politicians who are just sitting fat and happy in their little apartments or rooms or houses or whatever. Meanwhile, like the grunts are just, again, have no idea why they're doing what they're doing.
Right. They're the ones that pay the toll.
Right. And that's kind of like what really stuck out to me in this situation. It's just like these two guys, they don't really have that much of a hand in this. Like, the quarrel is more with their masters,
Right, absolutely.
And like I said, Gale's not entirely innocent, but he's just as close as you're going to get in this business, I think. So for Gale to be Jesse's first kill, or him taking a life, that's intense. That's a lot.
Right.
He shot him in his own apartment.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, if you hadn't had said for sure he murdered him, I would not be surprised if season 4 starts with Jesse firing a bullet over his head and be like, I just can't do this. But had you not kind of confirmed
I needed to make it clear. No. And I thought about that. I thought about holding it back. But so when this episode finished, there was a year until the next episode, right? Because season 4 rolls around, and people were guessing that maybe, like Jesse pointed the gun away or something like that. But Vince Gilligan actually had to come out and say, no, he actually did kill him. Like, that's a part of the story that we're trying to tell. So,
gotcha.
So I was like, it's, there's no point in holding it back, because if Vince Gilligan hadn't come out and that tension was there for you as well, I'd keep it. But there's no point.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, that's interesting. It's finally seeing Walt, a confirmation of, again, it's not like he's pulling the trigger on Gale. He didn't make Jane throw up in her sleep. He didn't make Jane's father, so distracted that he crashed that plane. But it's like, you are directly asking someone to murder you to benefit from it, and again, it's now you're seeing the progression of the cancer that is Walt White, pushing into Jesse and kind of corrupting him, out of some kind of weird loyalty to Walt, out of him saving his life, some kind of weird sick guilt. It's a very interesting thing seeing where Walt is now. And like, again, nothing so far where Walt has, he killed Crazy 8. That's totally self-defense. The thing with Jane was really fucked up, but again, he didn't do anything. He just didn't not do anything. You know what I mean? It was his lack of action.
Sure, yeah.
And then, everything else was kind of this like chain reaction. And then all the stuff that happened with Hank. And it's like, Jesus, man, you're just kind of seeing like, Walt is the hammer that hits the glass, but everybody else around him are the cracks that form, like your reach is far and destructive.
Definitely. But we'll see how, if anything, how Gus reacts to this particular transgression. In season 4. Yeah. Man, that's this episode. That's Full Measure.
That's it.
And it's interesting because no half measures were taken here as well, right? I mean,
no, absolutely.
This feeds back into that speech that Mike gave Walt earlier, right? No half measures.
Right.
The pacing of this episode was relentless. It's a 47-minute long episode, but it flies, man. This episode just flew by. I guarantee.
Right.
I was like trying to shore up my notes. I was like, damn, like that. Were we at the ending already? Because there's a lot of time dedicated to, like particular moments, like for example, Walt kind of getting out of the car, putting his hat on, things like that. Like, but like they're all important to Heisenberg and the story. So yeah, it's a masterful episode, man. I love this episode.
Yeah, this episode is absolutely great, and really quite a an episode to end on for season 3.
Yeah. Imagine being left with that cliffhanger.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not the most harrowing cliffhanger in this show, by the way. There's a bigger one.
Oh my God.
But anyway, guys, that's it for season 3 of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your messages asking when we'd come back.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I promise the gap between season 3 and 4 won't be as long. We're going to get to work on it right away. I assure you that's a promise. So, Colin, thank you, Colin, so much for hanging out with me for this whole season. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, 3 seasons. Yeah, it's been a blast, man.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. Anything else to say before we head out of here?
No, nothing really. Just I appreciate you guys being patient with how these episodes are coming out. And it's slowly coming to an end. We're most of the way through now. We got 2 seasons left. And I'm sure it'll fly by. We'll be at the end before we even know it.
Absolutely. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this season of Bad Crystal Breaking Bad podcast. Please let us know your thoughts on the show and what we can do to improve it as we head into season 4. So, your feedback is invaluable to us. So Again, thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next season on Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast.